Okay. All right. We're up. We're up. We're up. Okay. All right, y'all. Hey, happy Saturday. I'm guessing since y'all here, y'all probably working too. Y'all ain't going nowhere. And it's all right. It's all right. I'm not judging us because I was not in the mood. I was just not in the mood to be out of the house today. It just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. I'm recluse by choice. So, but how is everyone's how is everyone's okay, there we go. How is everyone's day going so far? How's your weekend going so far? What y'all thinking about it? How y'all feeling about it? I'm getting the cards ready so that we can talk about the magician, because that's the topic that we're talking about today. On a treadmill, healing your body and spirit. I know that's right. Okay. Okay. Let me put this in. What about everybody else? How y'all doing? Uh, yeah, we're good. Okay. I was ready to throw in the towel for a bit. Really, man, I would be interested to hear what happened. Um, cause I felt okay. Y'all doing good. You're doing good. Okay. So y'all, okay, I hear you. I'll definitely check in with you after this. So, I want to start off before I get into the cards. I want to talk about my creator confession for the day. And it is not it's kind of been inspired by like how this week has gone, but also I don't know. I feel like the response for how this election went has is been very interesting to see the it's been interesting to see how people are acting now after the choices that they made. But anyway, I was thinking about the fact that I am okay with people being aspirational or inspirational. And I don't not only am I okay with it, but I don't feel like being in a different tax bracket than me or being at a different level in life, especially financially, makes you unrelatable. Hey, Palm. I don't think that it makes you unrelatable. And I feel like, and not automatically, I don't think that that's what makes people unrelatable. I think what makes people unrelatable is when there is no semblance of, not necessarily no semblance, but when it doesn't feel like you can really connect to them on a human level. But I feel like there has been a lot of backlash, especially when it comes to Black women who are well off, who are successful in different ways, who have achieved certain things, and people are no longer interested in them. And their reason being is that they feel like they're unrelatable, right? And I think that there are people, even Black women, that are not I can't necessarily relate to all the way, but to not be able to relate to them at all because they have more money than me or because their lifestyle is more lavish than mine is, that to make it seem like there's no way that I can connect with you or relate to you on a human level, that's just not realistic to me. Like that doesn't make sense to me. And I think that no matter how much money you make or whatever levels you get to in life, there are still things that we are going to have to deal with, especially as Black women, just because we are Black women. And regardless of whether I have a dollar or $1 million, that we can still connect and relate to certain experiences that are unique to us. And that just because they are where they are doesn't mean that they are not still advocating and using their power to help make the changes that they want to see. And so I say all that to say that I feel like I don't if I have if you're only if the only thing that you want to see or the only thing that you want to observe or be connected to are people who are um like, quote unquote relatable, but relatable in my opinion can sometimes be like we're relating over a shared trauma or everybody's on the struggle bus together or everybody is every no one and all of us are bad at relationships and all of us are bad with money and it almost it not even almost I'm trying to like be politically correct here but I really don't want to be I don't want to be I just want to say it how I feel but I seeing it and then seeing like people use that and try to put the term relatable when in reality you just want to be surrounded by people who are not better than you at things. You want to be surrounded by people who they can't none of you can offer each other anything because you're all struggling in some way. You're all it's hard times for everybody and having this like almost like defeated attitude or perspective about things. And I don't want that. Like I don't want to be surrounded by that. I want to be surrounded by people who we're growing together. Now, not it's not the same thing as we all have things that we were aspiring towards and we're working towards and we just not there yet. That's one thing. But like I'm talking about people who are just like comfortable being the victim and kind of like wallowing and we're all just going to struggle together because this is proving something to whoever. Like I don't even know who we're proving it to at this point. But I want to be I also want to be connected to people that are doing better than me in the areas that I aspire to get to in the places that I aspire to get to and not having this perception of myself that because this person has more money than me I'm not worthy to be in their space or I'm not worthy to be connected to them or I have no business being friends with this person because look at what they've been able to accomplish and what they've been able to do. Who am I? Like it really when you are honest about it, it's a way of convincing yourself that you don't belong there or you don't deserve to be there or be in relationship with these people. And that's not that's not fair. Like that's not fair and that's not true. So I absolutely love and can relate to people who I've literally seen grow and get better and do better and who are not constantly complaining about where they are in their life and even when things are tough they talk about it and they stand up for what they believe in but they're not just sitting around like crying and moaning and just being miserable but trying to like position it as being relatable. Like that's not me, that's not my thing, that doesn't motivate me, that doesn't excite me. And so I am okay with people being quote unquote unrelatable because it's not unrelatable to me, especially if I can see myself in you and what you're doing. So that's my confession. Because like at this point, it's getting a little bit too real. it's it's too real. It's too let's clean it up a little bit, guys. Like that's just how I feel about it. Like let's just clean it up. Want to stay there, that's great. But I'm going to go to the place where people make me want to be better. Like watching them makes me want to do better and aspire for more and dream bigger and ask them questions and learn from them. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the place that challenges how I see myself and what I'm comfortable with because I want to be better. I want to grow. And I think one of the most important things about this is not just who I'm surrounding myself with and who I feel, worthy of being in relationship with. But also, I I know that it's important for me as I grow and get to new places and get into new spaces, and I start sharing these things and people see these things, they see the growth, and there are some people who will see me as unrelatable. I mean, for real, it's probably a bunch of people that feel that way about me already. Like, I just feel like this unrelatable, unattainable, unrealistic person to them. Like, they couldn't even imagine the being the type of person that I am. So I feel like I'm okay with that. And I'm not going to constantly feel like I have to censor how I'm growing and what the good things in my life, and trying to like pull back and pretend like I'm not who I am for the sake of being relatable, or for the sake of making people feel like, oh, she's down to earth and she's this and she's that. Like, for real, y'all, like sometimes I'm not down to earth. I mean that. I mean that like as the phrase, like sometimes I'm not relatable. And also sometimes I am so far into a daydream. I'm really not here right now. Like, my head be all up in the clouds somewhere. So I'm literally not always down to earth. Like, that's the kind of person that I am. And that's the kind of person that I have to be, because that's just the person that I am. I can't imagine being this that person and then also being a creative person. Like, they don't make sense together. So that's my confession. I had to get that off my chest. I love seeing the people whose like videos are so creative and the concepts are so beautiful that it makes me want to step my game up. Like, I'm loving it. And those are the kinds of people, the types of artists and the creators that I'm following. And honestly, I feel like I see more of that kind of content on YouTube than I do on TikTok. Um, and so when I do see it on TikTok, I'm always like, ooh, like holding on to it for dear life. Cause I need this, this break from the mediocre and the regular and the mundane. I want to see stuff that like visually excites me and creatively excites me and inspires me. So yeah, I'm gonna take it that I'm not by myself with that thought, with my confession, because I was really I felt that. I just felt that one. I was gonna actually make a thread about it. Um, I was gonna make a thread about it, but I think what had happened was I just forgot. I don't have a reason why I didn't. I probably should have. That would have been interesting to see how people respond to it, but I want aspirational content, okay? I want it. I need it to I need it to inspire me and motivate me and to just give me beautiful things to see. I'm here for it. Here for it. You said do it. What did I say? Forgot that fast. I just be talking, man. I promise y'all. I just be talking. Okay. So I'm bringing it up, y'all. I'm bringing up the description of the magician, because that's what we're going to be talking about now. So I hope that I did the magician well. Instead of, I didn't really put, oh yeah, I'll make it a threads post after this. I put on my rings and I have on, my crochet. I just felt like it gives like mystical, magician-y, is a magician-y look. And then I got my choker on. I don't have a lace choker, which would have honestly been so much better, but it's fine. It's fine. This is what I felt like I had enough energy to put together for for the magician. So we're going to talk about the magician, and we're going to figure out if you are a magician yourself, and if you are not a magician, you might be one of the magician's cousins. So we're going to talk about all of these, but we are going to start with the fundamental, which is the magician. Okay? So y'all ready to get into it? Y'all ready? I see the hearts over on YouTube. I don't know who that is, but thank you and happy Saturday. All right, so let's get into the magician. So, the magicians have a relentless urge to make the impossible possible. And if you can sense what your customers need even before they open their mouths, you might just be the magician. So, this is more than just creating things from nothing. It's about transforming dreams into reality and offering experiences that are extra special and exclusive. All right. So, if you are into the this almost like intuitive, mystical, magical, transformational way of living life, then the magician might be your brand personality. So let's get into some of the strengths of the magician. The magicians are known for their ability to dream enormous dreams, like turning your wildest dreams into reality. You're able to do this yourself for yourself, but it also is something that it tends to happen for the people who are connected to you, or the people who you work with, right? The people that you serve with your business. Another strength that magicians have, this is a mysterious power of perception. They almost have this magical intuition about what their people need. They are awe-inspiring, and they have awe-inspiring intuition, and they're clever. And so seeing and creating things that never existed before. They have charisma. They're known for their charisma, having that magnetic personality. It's like this allure that just makes you want to know them or know more about them, or just like engage, like almost kind of like having like this like mystery that people want to solve. And then you also have a highly evolved perspective. So you can see the big picture and understand intricate details. Okay. So when you can harness these strengths, it means that you are embracing your ability to dream big dreams and make those dreams come true. So magicians are architects of reality, and the thing that's is they're very similar to the creator in that way, especially when it comes to the making dreams a reality, and the ability to be architects of reality. But there's going to be some things that are slightly different from the creator, and we'll get into those so that you can know the difference. But you're an architect of reality, crafting extraordinary experiences from seemingly thin air. Okay. So now with the strengths, y'all already know we got to talk about the challenges as well. So here are some of the challenges that the magician may come up against. The first one being manipulation, and using the power to influence people can lead to manipulative behavior. This is especially true. There's not necessarily the malicious intent to manipulate people, but even um like like withholding in a way, or like talking or speaking or moving in a way where you basically get people to do what you want them to do or what you feel like they should do, right? So that's where the manipulation can come in. So I don't want y'all to listen to this and be like manipulative, like that can be an offensive term for people. But I'm gonna be real with you, manipulation is actually way more common than we acknowledge. So don't make it a taboo thing. Don't make it a taboo thing. Like it happens, and it's important to check your intentions, and also um to move with that integrity so that you can make sure that you are not manipulating people. Another challenge that they can have is deception. You think it sounds like Huma? Another thing could be deception. So the line between illusion and reality can be blurry. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the manipulation. And then another thing is excessive pride or self-confidence, which is really just an arrogance about you. And the thing that's so interesting about the pride and the self-confidence, the over like well, really, I don't feel like it's confidence. I feel like it's false confidence. It's really just insecurity. But the thing that's interesting about that compared to what the strengths are, I can see how, especially when it comes to like having an intuition and feeling like you always are aware of things and you know things before they happen. I can see how it could easily lead to you feeling like you're better than people. Feeling like you're better than people, or just having like this arrogance about you, almost feeling like you can't be wrong. And so the there's something that I feel like there's something that's missing from this list. And I can't put my finger on it just yet, y'all. But when I do, I'm gonna come back to the challenges and I'm gonna tell y'all what comes to my mind. But there's something else that's there, that's a challenge that um I want to make sure that I bring out with the magician. So let's keep on going. But when I figure it out, I'm gonna tell y'all. Okay. So recognizing and mitigating the challenges and the strengths helps the magician to maintain their integrity and authenticity, and keeping their magic potent and their relationship strong. So this the whole magical aspect and the whole ability, oh, I found it. Oh, it clicked. Okay. So I think that especially like the excessive pride and the self-confidence, when things tend to, not only when you tend to have an intuition that that tends to be right often, right? And then you also pair that with this ability to make dreams a reality. Like you can just kind of like like you just have this ability to make things happen. There can be this over inflated confidence in how those things came to pass or how they came to be, and it you start to make it something that you did, right? And the reason why that's important is because that can also be a way for you to overcompensate when you aren't sure if it's going to work out. So so let's say for instance, like you pick up on some need that a person has, right? Like you don't really know them that well, but there's just something that you know that they need. And let's say there's something like health wise, right? Because I feel like when we're dealing with other people, especially when it comes to health, that's one of the most challenging journeys to walk on, especially when we're talking about something like, like cancer. That can be a very dangerous line to walk, and a very discouraging line as you are watching your loved ones go through it, right? So let's say that you just have this feeling that things are going to work out for them, and instead of just saying I don't know how, or I don't know what's going to make this happen, I just believe that it is. You start to now bring in like all of these different elements and situations that try to like prove that what you believe is going to happen, but you don't really, that's not really where your information is coming from. That's not really the source of it. You don't know for sure that this is going to work out. You maybe have a feeling and you have this belief, but as you're watching the person go through their healing journey and they have really high highs, and then all of a sudden something dips, and now you're freaking out, you're panicking because you're like, man, um it's not looking like, it's not looking good, like it's not looking like what I thought was going to happen. And that can be a challenge and a shake to your belief and what you believe could be like what could be possible, what could happen. And so like this tendency to overcompensate because what you believe and what happens isn't necessarily um rooted in things that you can offer as a fact that it's gonna happen. Like you just have this like almost like a faith that it's gonna happen. So hopefully that makes sense. But I think that's where the like the pride and the overcompensation and the like the false confidence, that's a part of where that could come from, is really the insecurity of what if this doesn't work out, or like things aren't looking like I thought they would. How do I explain this to people? Okay. So I think there's still more to it. but we're gonna go with that for now. That's good. I feel okay moving forward. But if something else comes to my mind, I'm gonna share it about the magician. Okay. So let's get into the overview of the magician. Okay. So at the heart of the magician is a burning passion for turning dreams into reality and leaving a transformative mark. And this is another one that, like I said, is very similar to the creator, but it's slightly different. Okay. So these individuals don't just see the world as it is, they see it as it could be, making them pioneers in innovation and transformation with a highly evolved perspective. Okay. Magicians often find themselves at the forefront of their fields where their charismatic and intuitive nature sets them apart. So they just have like this, yeah, like I said, it's like an allure, like a mystery that's like I have to follow you, like like a bug to the light. Like I gotta know more, something there. So for magicians to create, Kuma said, I'm talking about him. Magicians are characterized by their ability to create things that never existed before and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Their relentless pursuit of the extraordinary makes them dynamic leaders in fields where innovation and transformation are valued, and they possess a unique flair for the dramatic and preference for exclusivity, ensuring that their creations are not just products, but experiences that captivate and inspire. Okay. So, making sure there's nothing else I wanted to add to that. Not right now. So let's get into the essence of the magician brand. Magicians are synonymous with impact, innovation, and charisma, and they possess an intuitive grasp of the future. Hey, Jay, an intuitive grasp of future trends and customers' needs, often developing solutions that seem to be crafted from thin air. And there is, I'm there is someone who embodies the magician exceptionally, okay? Like exceptionally. So I know Paul is saying Kuma, but I hadn't thought about Kuma for magician. So I would have to think about that one some more to give a correlation. I'm not saying that you're not one. I'm just letting you know off the top of my head that's not the connection that I made. But the person who I think of when I think about the magician is Chelsea. So Chelsea, um, I think of her title. She has the gems and jewels, and she's been on my live a couple of times, and she's been on my live a couple of times. I'll share her a link to her YouTube actually because she has a podcast. So I have to remember to put that down and I'll share her. But if you know Chelsea, the way that Chelsea, first of all, just like her presence has this like this mystery, this mysterious, like alluring way that she moves. And it at first it comes across as more of like the lover, but when you listen to the way that she talks about things, there's it's this sense of like it almost kind of like has you like on your toes, like, oh, what is she gonna say next? And the way that she speaks, it is she might I had to talk to her about that. Anyway, it has like this appeal, this draw that even though she's not the fastest talker, she doesn't make content like what a lot of us are used to seeing, especially when it comes to like the talking head content. But she takes her time and she speaks in a way and she speaks in like these metaphors and she finds this imagery to describe the things that we are experiencing, right? And one of the things that I really like that aligns with the magician about Chelsea specifically is that she is really good at um the the making your visions come true, like your the things that you put down on your vision boards, and manifesting those things, and planning it the way that she does it. It's like everything that she has wanted and worked for, she achieves it, she attains it. And so watching her and listening to her, you see that magician archetype come out, right? So she's a really good example of what that looks like embodied. And I would definitely call her like a magician and not the cousins, but we'll get into the cousins and you can see if you might align more closely with one of those towards the end, okay? But yes, they have a flair for the dramatic, preference for exclusivity, and it is not about just meeting expectations, but exceeding them in the most spectacular way possible. Okay, so it's not just about getting it done; it's about making it look like miraculous, like making it just look like wow. Like I am really impressed by this. Okay, so some iconic magician brands are Apple and Polaroid. And Polaroid is a really good one. Especially if you think about it, like think about just a Polaroid camera in general. You're taking the picture and then the picture comes out of the camera automatically. Like that feels magical. Like that it's just messing with me. I just had that correlation there. I just made that connection. But Apple and Polaroid, and Apple is an interesting one because Apple, I can see magician, but Apple is also definitely one of the creator brand personalities. But even just the way that they're branded, I see more magician than I see creative, I think. Y'all let me know what you think. If you see more magician or you see more of the creator. So they have not only introduced groundbreaking innovations, but they've also managed to maintain a charismatic aura that mesmerizes their audience. So from the whimsical and the imaginative Willy Wonka, I love Willy Wonka, or the more like spot on ones like Enchanted or Charmed or Practical Magic. Those things are quite literally the magician, like especially like more in the like the typical stereotypical way that you would think about it. But those like the way where they like take reality and turn it into something extraordinary is what makes the magician a magician. So these brands understand their audience's needs deeply, and they ensure that each release resonates on a spiritual and intuitive level, much like a transformative experience. So now let's get into your journey with your audience as the magician. One of the key aspects of a magician's brand is the ability to evolve alongside its audience. So, by bringing customers along on their journey of expansion, these brands create a shared experience that feels both personal and monumental. So, as a magician, you really want to make it feel like as you are evolving and transforming that your audience is going along that journey too, and not only are they growing and evolving with you, but it feels like they've been a part of making history. Like this is big, like what I just participated in, what I just saw, what just happened, what we just did together. This is huge, this is big. So that's important that you create those experiences and you share those experiences with your audience. I think that you would be missing out on a really big opportunity to continue to build in the dark. Okay. Um, and that's something that just came to me. But that idea, that concept of we're just going to build everything and then put it out there, it really robs your community, your audience, of that ability to experience the transformation with you. So even when we think about, like, let's go back to Apple real fast. When we think about how Apple does like their big like press release I forgot what it's called technically, but they do like this big tech, like this big press release when around in September when they have their new technology coming out. And so when you are part of it, they've literally made them announcing new products. Like let's look think about this on a base level. On a base level, they have made the launch of their product a monumental experience. Like it's something that everybody talks about. Like it's a huge deal. Everyone's talking about, well, what's the new features and what's coming down the pipeline and what's the new AirPod or iPad or whatever. Like it's become like a whole thing, right? And all they're doing is telling you new ways to give them your money. But they've made it a monumental experience. Like think about what it feels like to be a part of the part of the group that got like the first iPhone. Like those people. I wasn't one of those people. I didn't even know what that felt like. But imagine what it feels like to be a part of that, right? Like you were a part of something monumental. And so that's the type of experience on whatever level you are at that you can begin to create for your community. So I would really advise against taking the approach of I'm just going to do everything in the dark and then tell people about it later. Bring people in and create experiences that make them feel like they're a part of the journey with you. So this continuous evolution is not just about scaling your business, but about evolving overall. Like this is not just about making your product or your service better or making your business better. This is about evolving as a person, evolving and transforming and reaching levels and getting to places that, a year ago or 5 years ago, you couldn't even imagine what point A to point B was going to look like, but you did it, like that type of evolution. And encouraging your customers to see their own potential for change and for innovation. So, how can they evolve? How can they do something a little bit different? How can they give a new take or a new spin or a new perspective on things, right? So, that's the journey that you want to take them on. So, with overcoming the challenges, like we said earlier, these brands often struggle with the practical aspects of bringing their vision to life. So, I'm thinking about the example that I gave earlier, but they struggle with the bringing the practical aspects into making their vision come true. Like basically, I thought about it and it should just happen. And those details in between and the mundane, it's not that you can't necessarily picture what that would look like, but you don't want to be there because that's not that's not the dream realized. That's the dream in progress. And that's not fun. That's not fun. So you struggle with the practical, whether it's executing it or just being okay with being in that place. Like that's a hard place for you to be in. So and they also so they struggle with the practical aspects of bringing their vision to life, facing high expectations. So again, that kind of goes with like way that they feel in progress in the midst of the process and having really high expectations and high standards for what they believe it should be, right? And then also the complexities of manifesting ideas into tangible products. So you might be as a magician, you might be a person who is really good in theory. Like you can think about overall or generally an idea or a concept. Like I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Um we w- 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 Man, I can't, it's not coming to me. It's not coming to me. Hopefully, hopefully y'all can imagine what that looks like cuz I'm like drawing a blank on a good example for it. I feel like mine are kind of far-fetched. Let me try. Let me try. So, let's say that in theory in theory, you believe that the um TikTok algorithm should be better, right? The algorithm should not favor certain ethnicities. It shouldn't favor certain ages. Like it shouldn't be biased, right? Like you believe that fundamentally or theoretically, we should be able to have social media platforms that don't make us feel like we are not good enough. Okay. So let's say that that's your thing. And in theory, you can talk about why this should happen and why it's not fair and what that could look like. And you, and in your mind, you can dream about what the effects of that could be. But when it comes to, okay, well, where do we start with that? Because this algorithm has been around for X amount of years. And then let's go back to where all of this even started in the first place, right? Like we're like, how do we tackle that? What does that look like? How much, how expensive would it be to go in and change the algorithm? Like, what are those steps to get there? That's where you struggle. Or let's say, for instance, you have this idea, let's say TikTok didn't exist at all, but you have this idea of in theory, we shouldn't, like, the internet should be a safer place. But what does that look like as a product? What does that look like as a service? How do I take this idea and this concept and turn it into something that's tangible, something that exists in reality that people can use. So even on a smaller scale, because I was really trying to think of something smaller. Um, but okay, here's one more. For the first time, this sound like me for real. Really? Okay. So y'all, and so this is the thing that's interesting about it is that I think that this is one of those key things that makes it slightly different than the creator, because the creator and all his cousins, the creator is always thinking of new things, right? Like they're always thinking of a new product or a new service, or like being able to take an idea and present it in a way that is tangible. Even for me, like that's something that I do really well. Like when when someone talks to me and they tell me what they want to do, or they tell me what idea that they have, or they even tell me like just like skills that they have, like what they're good at, I can take their ideas, like their thoughts, and I can tell them what this would look like as a product, or what this would look like as content, or what this would look like as a tangible thing, right? And so as a magician, like I was saying earlier, you can see how it can work, and you probably really enjoy being more in the theoretical and like that dream space and just thinking about what it could be, but you aren't always sure of what it looks like played out, like mapped out step by step, strategy wise. How do I take this concept and then make it something that I can present to people? So that is one of the biggest things that I would say would make you either a magician or a creator. Okay. Because there are a lot of similarities, but there are some things that make them different. Okay. Eve said, I struggle with that. It holds me back. Yeah. Struggle in implementation. Okay. Wow. That is very interesting. Yes, Eve said she struggles with that, and then she gets discouraged. That is very good to know. Okay, very good to know. I definitely see where you're coming from with that. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about your about how to connect with your customers. Okay. So this next section, y'all, these next couple of sections, if you are the magician and you're listening to this, one of the first things that I'll say, I'm gonna go back a little bit before I talk about how you can connect with people. Because even then, that's something that can be a challenge. Oh, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be good, y'all. So if you're a magician, hang tight because I'm about to give y'all some stuff that you can use. But anyway, going back a little bit, if you are struggling with making your ideas into something tangible, then this take this as a sign to connect with a person that can help you and support you in that. Okay. Um, if that is something that you are realizing is a sore point and you're realizing that it is holding you back and is making you feel discouraged, take this as your sign that it's not that you aren't capable of it, but you need to partner with someone that is better at that. Like you would really do well with a person who can take your thoughts and help you to create a plan. And you are also good with the people who are more practical and pragmatic. Those kinds of people are going to be good people for you to connect with. So even for you, Kuma, like the fact that you have a team of creative people, like you already like you've got that part covered down when it comes to your studios. And so it's very smart because you have the vision, you have the dreams, and they're the ones that can help to give it the specifics and hone in on what it looks like to put it together, make it a reality, and then put it out into the world. So you might need a combination of a creator, because I think that that's going to be important. Then I'm trying to think if there's another one off the top of my head that would be really good. I'm gonna get back to y'all on that. I may not have got to that brand personality just yet, but there are some that are more practical. We talked about one yesterday in the lover that was more practical, and there might be some more. So that would be an interesting thing to dive into, is almost kind of like, who what type of brand personalities do you mesh well with, or that would like help complement where your challenges are. Yeah. Yeah, when I said that middle ground part, I definitely thought about you. Like it's like next, cuz what else? I'm over this. I'm not impressed. Okay. So, y'all, let's get into how to connect with your customers as the magician. So, magician brands attract people who are ahead of the curve, who value creativity, uniqueness, and a trend setting lifestyle. And so, going back to the intuitive nature and the ability to turn dreams into a reality, that naturally makes you a trendsetter as the magician. So you're literally taking things that did not exist and making them a thing. Like you're bringing them into the world. So you have to be a trendsetter in order to move and operate that way, right? And that's what's going to attract people to you. So these customers are buying into a narrative of transformation and exclusive insider knowledge. So again, really leaning into that sense of exclusivity and that sense of mystery, but not in the way where you aren't allowed to sit with us or you can't be here with us, but it's really only for the people who want it, like that kind of energy, like the people who are really willing to like kind of take a little step forward, and they're more curious and they're willing to go for something that's new, right? Like those are the kinds of people. So making them feel like an insider, making them feel exclusive is a part of how you connect with them, by rewarding loyalty and showcasing the transformative power of your products. Magician brands can create a compelling narrative of overcoming obstacles and achieving the extraordinary. So even especially with the rewarding loyalty, like I think about like when you get badges inside of communities, or if there are maybe like levels to spending certain amounts of money with your brand, like those kinds of things where the more people rock with you and the more involved they are, reward them for that, because not only is it making them feel good for being there and also leaning into that exclusivity, but you're also showing them, it's like rewarding them for like graduating and taking those steps and going on this journey with you of evolution. So yeah. Oh yeah, no, definitely not interested in being for everybody. Definitely not. Xbox achievements, PlayStation trophies. Yeah. Yeah. You're getting it. You're getting it. So let's talk about how to position your brand as the magician. So the magician often adopt a contemporary, user-friendly approach with a touch of new age consciousness. So y'all, that's why that I think that's well, no, because that's still kind of creator, but that's one thing that Apple does well. Okay. Now y'all can, some people will dump on Apple all you want to. I'm not fighting with y'all today. Okay. What I will say is that it is easier to use Apple devices. So it being user friendly, the capabilities of connecting to different devices. Listen, Andrea, I just had to make sure I put that disclaimer out there because I'm not tussling with nobody. Okay. I'm just not. Use what you use. Mind your own. All right. That's all I gotta say. But the user-friendly approach, your people, they don't need stuff to be complex and complicated. Okay. Make it so that it appeals to, they don't have to have a degree to move around in your spaces. Your offerings are typically set at a medium high price. Okay, so you're not luxury, but you're not budget friendly, but you're not accessible to everybody. There's like a nice middle ground that you're at, medium and then to high, depending on what your products are. And then again, the exclusivity is going to almost call for a higher price tag. Okay, that just, it don't make sense for it to be exclusive and then be for everybody. Um, so yeah, so and then that emphasizes the quality and the exclusivity, like I said. So the design and the marketing strategies are crafted to stand out, but not just in appearance, but in what you embody. Okay. Thanks. You let me repeat that one more time, okay? You stand out not just in appearance, but in your ethos. What you stand for, what you do makes you stand out, okay? So you don't have to have the flashiest, you don't have to be doing the most, you don't have to be um all like, in your face, this is me, this is what I do, look at all these colors, let me throw everything at you. It's not about being the loudest, it's about whatever you stand for. You are so firm in that thing that it automatically makes you stand out. So that's important. So again, like knowing who you are, what you stand for, what your values are, why you do what you do, your vision is going to be very important for the magician brand because it is going to automatically make you stand out just off principle. Okay. So the your brand positioning, you invite customers on an inner journey of discovery and often creating a sense of anticipation and exclusivity with waiting lists and sneak peeks of upcoming innovations. So again, like, you're not for everybody. Don't make yourself for everybody. Even if the barrier of entry to be exclusive is signing up for a newsletter, joining a wait list, joining a community, that already gives a level of exclusivity and like a peek, like behind the curtain for the people who are willing to take that next step. Okay. Andrea says, oh wow, so I'm on track. Yeah. So, yeah, those are things that especially if you're doing them naturally, keep leaning into that, okay? Because that is you're positioning yourself well for your brand. So let's get into the colors of the magician. So you're going to lean towards the mystical and enchanting colors, deep purples, vibrant blues, and golds that evoke a sense of wonder and magic. And these colors often identify like the feelings of otherworldly, captivating. Hey, Afro Latina Barbie. And so now let me give the disclaimer that I always do for the colors. The colors are not set in stone. That does not have to be the colors that you use because you have multiple aspects to your brand personality. But if this is if this is your fundamental one, you want to strongly consider bringing in some of these colors so that it's reflecting that archetype. It's reflecting that magical magician energy that you have. So those are going to be really good for you to play around with in your branding. So let's talk about the values. At the heart of every magician is the desire for transformation and impact. Okay, transformation and impact. And that transformation is like it makes you itch to just be in the same place. It makes you itch to not challenge yourself. It makes you itch not to evolve and to grow and to be different and to become these things that even to people may seem impossible, that may seem unattainable. You don't that don't rock with you, that don't work for you. I have to transform, I have to grow, I have to continue to elevate and challenge myself. So that's what you're driven by. And then the impact, like not even necessarily just leaving a legacy, but knowing that what you do or what you present has a a really deep mark on the people who purchase from you and who are in your community. So you're creating not just products, but experiences that aim to inspire and uplift people. And you bring in a mixture of a sense of wonder and significance in your work and what you do. So all of that is brought together. So those are the values of the magician. Okay. So let's talk about how to make your community feel. Right. This is what they should be feeling. Thank you, Andrea. This is what they should be experiencing with you. So, magicians, you should be making your community feel inspired and empowered to believe in the impossible, excited and intrigued by the potential of innovation and transformation, connected to a deeper sense of purpose and possibility, and enthralled by the magic of new experiences and ideas. So, when it comes to making connections with your people, it's crucial for you to empower your followers, okay? Empower them to see beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. So, you naturally might be a little more disruptive. You might be a little more agitating at times because you want to challenge people to think beyond their immediate scope, their immediate frame of references, their immediate circles. Like you want them to see beyond those things and embrace those things. It's also crucial for you to encourage dreaming big and believing in the power of transformation. Okay, like that sound like you're thinking small, you really need to be thinking big. That's you all day. And it's also crucial for you to speak directly to individuals, making them feel uniquely understood and valued. Okay. So, those are the things that are crucial for making connections with your people as the magician. You love this, Andrea. I'm so glad. It makes me feel good when it clicks and everybody, like seeing everybody and with each video someone different is like, oh wait, now that sounds like me, like that's I'm feeling this, I'm connected to this, and then seeing like the yes, oh my goodness, oh, that is a good idea, or I'm moving in the right direction. That makes me feel so good. So I'm really glad. And again, if you have not heard a brand personality that sounds like you, hang tight. Okay. Hang tight. Hold on. Cause yours is coming. Okay. Yours is coming up. I believe I have like 7 more after today to do. It's either 6 or 7. So within those 6 or 7, one of your personalities is coming up. Okay. Kuma says this message for somebody today. I really feel like that's somebody. That makes me feel so excited, friend. I love it. Okay, so let's get into some storytelling ideas for the magician. So, let's see. One good idea is talking about how your innovative software or your innovative product has turned a struggling business into a thriving success. Another like the idea behind these, like I got to give this disclaimer. The idea behind these is that they are very specific to different types of industries, but take the underlying idea of it and use that to tell your story. Okay. So if you're not doing software, that's fine. You just transport, translate, swap out the words to make it fit what you're doing. But the idea behind it is the transformation, like you're telling the story of a transformation. Another thing to look at is how another example is like a cosmetic product and how it completely reinvented the look of the customer or the client and boosted their confidence. This is also good with fashion too, y'all. There's a brand that I worked with um over over I think it was like back in spring, and we were one of her brand personalities was the magician. And so one of the things that I encouraged her to do is to speak to how confident women now felt in her clothes. Like there was someone who was talking about how she wore some one of her outfits, and her husband just like couldn't keep his hands off of her. Like he just kept like referencing the outfit, and that felt really good to be, represented, and not represented, but like to just be like have that genuine response from your man. And so we were joking around, and we was like, instead of whatever the name of that jumpsuit, the jumpsuit should now be called my man, my man, my man. Because he's not going to be able to keep his hands off of you. And so even something like that, like that's a story of transformation, because that's a huge confidence boost, even though it's like he see you every day, but to have certain things that really stood out to him and he really enjoys seeing you in, it makes you feel good. So that's another example. Um, let's see. You can talk about the life changing experience or results of your personal development course, or maybe you are a coach of some sort. I could see a magician also being somebody like a physical trainer or having some product that helps with health and wellness. And then you can also talk about here's another one in the finance, how your financial tools turn someone's dreams into a reality. And this also makes me think about Chelsea, who I was saying is a really good example of the magician, because she talks about how she went from um not like barely making a lot of money to being a six figure earner to making six figures. But because of her mentality with money, it didn't feel like she ever had any money. And now changing her relationship, not her relationship, but changing her mindset around money and her relationship with herself and setting some boundaries. Now the money that she makes, that is good money, it feels like good money because of the transformation that she went through mentally and emotionally, so that she could be in a place where she managed it better. Right. So something like that story is a good idea, and not a good idea, but a good representation of the transformation. So that's what you want to make sure that you are presenting and showcasing with what you do in your stories. So there are a few more examples of stories that you can tell. I will tag the blog post in my description box so that you can see all the storytelling examples. There's about 6 or 7 of them, but I never go through all of them because I'll be sitting here talking all day just on content alone. So go through them, check them out, make them work for your brand, and start telling more of these stories because as a magician, this is what's going to work well for you. Kuma said, I need 14 of them right now. Right now. I think that I feel like off I'm not gonna do it. You're not gonna bait me. You're not gonna bait me, okay? Because I will. I'm good telling stories privately, but publicly, is that something that the magician struggles with? That's a good question, Andrea. I don't think that sharing the stories is a magician issue. Um, I think that it's just more of a human thing. Like a lot of us struggle with telling our stories, and the only difference would be what stories are the most impactful. Like if I'm being honest with you, I think that every not even think. I know that every personality struggles with telling the stories that will make the biggest impact. I think that that's just like across the board. The more powerful our stories are, the more transformative they may be, the more impactful they may be, the more unbelievable they may feel to share. That is probably where I would say the differences are, but not the fact that you have a hard time telling it. What I will say though is that you may be struggling, especially when it comes to sharing the transformations of others with your products and with your services. That can stem from this feeling like almost kind of like a doubt that you didn't really do it or that you really didn't play a part in it, like what you're doing didn't really play a role in that transformation. This person did it on their own. They figured it out by themselves. I'm just a vessel and God used me. And I'm not against people giving God credit cuz you should. But the challenge that I have with that phrase is that it is, for me, it's a way for people to almost downplay their gifts and downplay their talents. And that's frustrating because those are also the things that keep people broke. Full stop. So to for me, it's a matter of not only having these stories to tell, but believing that you played a role in these stories in this transformation, because you do, even though your role is not you're not the main character in somebody else's story, but you did help. Something that you offered, something that you did, something that you said yes to impacted somebody else's life, which again goes back to one of your motivations, one of your values is impact. So that's what I'll say to that. So I don't think that it's a magician thing, but the particular stories that you don't feel comfortable sharing, those are the ones that I would challenge. Where is that coming from? She says, for me, telling my personal story without getting so emotional, but I want people to know more of me. Mm, okay. What hmm what about being emotional bothers you? Let me know that. I'm gonna keep on going to the key phrases and words. I'm gonna give you some time to respond to that if you want to respond to it publicly. But that would be the question. Mm. Kuma says it's an excuse to be lazy. I'm just reading the comments section, y'all. I'm just reading the comments, okay? Okay. Okay, let's get into some key phrases and words. I know we're going to come back to this topic though, so I'm not running from it. I promise y'all. So let's get into some key phrases and words that the magician should use. So, some of the things that, all right, so these are things that people will often say about you. Okay. And then some of them are things that you should say. So, phrases like, you give me a lot of confidence and hope. You help me be better than ever before. You make it easy to get what I really want. You show me how to stay committed to myself. I want to be around you because you're a winner. Um, huh. Okay. And then words like transmutation, hold on, transmutation, evolution, innovation, electrifying, world changing, perceptive, intuition, cleverness, charisma, passion. Words like that are like, keywords that will really represent your brand well. So, magicians, my wonderful, magnetic, charismatic, wonderful, big dreamer magicians. I want you to remember to weave the magic that you have, weave in integrity and vision in what you do. Okay. Don't lose the plot. Don't lose the plot. And don't sacrifice your integrity for the sake of appearing to be magical, because you are magical all on your own. That's naturally who you are. So don't feel the need to overcompensate. Challenge those feelings and walk in integrity, and remember why you're doing what you do. Each creation is a testament to your boundless imagination and your transformative power. Keep dreaming, keep innovating, and watch as you turn the impossible into the possible, enchanting the world with every step. Okay? And that's the magician, y'all. Hey, Ron. That's the magician. So, if you are listening to this and you were like, okay, some of them sound like me, but I don't know if that's me all the way. All right. We're about to talk about the cousins that are in the magician family. So, the magician is the fundamental archetype. Okay. But these are the cousins to the magician. So the first cousin coming to the family reunion is the engineer. The strengths for the engineer are practicality, sensibility, engagement, honesty, groundedness, patience. The challenges are manipulation and the temptation to seek one's own advantage or act as a puppet master. And that goes heavy into you trying to have control and have things to go the way that you would like them to go. All right. So the engineer is curious and looks to find solutions to everyday problems. Eminently practical, this archetype converts creative energy into practical expressions and is result driven and delivery oriented. So, not detail oriented, delivery oriented. That means that you're on a mission. Okay. You are a man, a woman on a mission, and your goal is to get this thing done, to get it out there. So, if that sounds like you might be the engineer. The next cousin coming to the reunion is the innovator. The strengths of the innovator is cross pollination, idea generation, inspiration, high intellect, curiosity. The challenges of the innovator is a difficulty staying focused, all ideas and no actions. Okay, you turn into a philosopher. Danger of getting lost in the mind. Okay, so the innovator thrives on change and would rather ask why not than why. Taking wild and frequent risks, the innovator makes unexpected connections that shift the status quo. All right? That is the innovator. The next cousin coming to the reunion is the alchemist. The alchemist is the alchemist strengths are transformation, purity, transmutation of elements. That sounds so fancy. A transmutation of elements. The challenges of the alchemist are fraud, seduction, superiority, and temptation to put power and skill to wrong use. You know, as I'm thinking about this, I feel like the somebody from the Bible that would fit this brand personality is Solomon. I feel like Solomon would fit this, especially when I was reading Seduction. And no one ever says this, but I don't feel like Solomon was a very humble person. Like, do anybody else feel like that? Like, I just don't get the impression. Like, I feel like Solomon, like, low key thought he was better than everybody. And then because his daddy was the one that fought all the wars and he lived in peace, like, he didn't really have to like do some of the grunt work of like being a soldier and leading the army. Like, he just was living good. He just had all this wisdom. He had all these women. Is it just me? That's fine. It's fine. I just think that I feel like Solomon, this was his. I like Solomon though, but I just don't feel like he was. I feel like he was definitely. I don't think he was a humble person. Okay, so the last cousin come into the family reunion is the scientist. So the scientist is logic. Their strengths are logic, focus, flashes of brilliance, dedication, and commitment. And then also a curiosity about reality. Some of the challenges of thank you, Ron. Some of the challenges of the scientist are a tendency to miss the forest for the trees or be distracted by one's own thoughts, naivete about the rest of the world, and an ability to recognize the fatal flaws. So those are the challenges of the scientist. So, with thought predicated on witnessing rather than believing, the scientist is driven by a selfless desire to work for the greater good. As a source of change, the scientist can improvise novel approaches to life's puzzles and mysteries. Okay. So, that is the scientist. So, these are all the cousins that are in the magician family. The magician, again, is the fundamental. That's the fundamental card. And if you feel like you got some magician qualities, but you're not a full magician, then you probably are more in line with either a scientist, the alchemist, the innovator, and the engineer. Now, what I will say about this is that if you felt, I want to give it a percentage. Like, I want to say if you felt like maybe about 90% of the stuff that I said before I started talking about the cousins sounds like you are more likely to be the magician than one of the others, okay? This is really for the cousins. I like to say the cousins are for more like specific pockets of the family, and the magician not only embodies the magician, but you kind of cover some of the bases that are in the brand personalities of the cousins. So if you're on the fence and you're like, they all kind of sound like me, it's probably because you're more likely to be a magician than one of the other cousins. Okay. Yes. Yes, but can you give me a second? I can't do nothing about it at this moment. Okay. Silver Spoon Solomon. Yeah, okay. I'm just glad to know that I'm not alone because it just clicked for me. It just clicked for me, and I don't have no other. I ain't got no other facts to back up how I felt about it, but I just feel like Solomon he definitely was. What was that? The Alchemist. I think he was an alchemist. Okay. So what are y'all thinking? How many people feel like they're a magician? Because I saw a couple of people. I saw a couple of people. I know Andrea. Do you feel like the magician is you, or do you feel like it's more one of the cousins? And then for you, Kuma, because you were the other person that said it, do you feel like you're a magician? Like, does that feel like that's your fundamental? Or does it feel like it's maybe more so one of the cousins? Oh, and Eve. I think Eve said something about it too. Which I think. Which I think. Definitely the magician. Okay. Okay. Here they are. Someone asked me about they asked me about you two, Eve. Okay. That is good to know. So someone asked me about the brand personalities and where I got this information from. So I got I've been studying these pretty intensely for at least a year now, which like is crazy because when I started researching them, I was like, man, this is so much information. I do not see myself being able to remember all of these. And it felt very daunting. But it's been a year. So I have a couple of sources and a couple of places where I got this information from. So if you ever want to do a deeper dive into just the personalities overall, especially if you are getting into any like creative work or branding, marketing, those types of things, strategists, consultants, then knowing the brand personalities as a whole will be good. But for most people, you really don't need to know them unless you're just curious. Because it doesn't it doesn't do too much for you outside of maybe learning about like the different motivations and maybe how different people can what different people are attracted to language wise. But I feel like that energy is better placed on your brand. So if it's not relevant to you, you just have a bunch of information in your head, which again, the more you know, that's great. I'm not that kind of person. I typically research stuff that I feel is relevant to me. So you do with that what you will. But because, oh, you're definitely a magician. Okay. That's so cool. Learn something new about you. So the book that I got these cards from, let me get it. It's called The Archetypes and Branding. So this book is by Margaret Pot Hartwell and Joshua C. Chin, and it is an amazing, amazing book. So this is where I literally like got all the cards out of here. They were like, you pop them out and you can have this deck to use for yourself and with customers, clients, and all that good stuff. And then it gives you an overview of each brand personality. And what I liked about this book in particular is that this is the first one where I learned about all 60, because most things will really only focus on the fundamental ones, so the 12, the fundamentals. But this is where I got the cards from. So if this something that you're interested in, this is it. I'll tag it in the description box as well for people who want to do some more research. But outside of the book, I also there was one other person I found on YouTube whose name I cannot remember right now. So unfortunately, I can't just shout her out at this moment. But another person who has really done a lot of deep research on brand personalities is Jennifer Kim. That's Jennifer Kem. And so some of the things that I even talk about in my blog, I reference her as well. So those are two sources where I got a lot of the information from. But I again, like I've been a little bit of everywhere learning this stuff. But those are like the two off top that I would give you as other references. But of course, the one that the one I'm gonna direct you to first is gonna be my blog. So I have the overview, I have the storytelling ideas, everything that I've talked about today. I have it written out on the blog. The link to the blog will be in the description. So you can go through, you can read it, you can reference it later. And as I learn more and I get more information, more examples, I mean updating the blog so they are like live documents that are growing and evolving as I learn more information. But that's another good place for you to go and just get it all accumulated into one space. So that's that, y'all. That's that. We have talked about the magician. So tomorrow I will hmm I will either talk about I still got to do the rebel, but honestly, I'd save the rebel for Monday for no particular reason other than I just want to. I don't have no good reason. So we'll talk about the rebel on Monday, but tomorrow we'll talk about the jester. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So uh, I don't know what that means for me outfit wise because I'm not dressing up like no clown. That's just way too much commitment. I'm not that committed. But I'll see. I'll try to whatever I wear is going to be something playful. So that's what I'll say. It'll be something playful and fun and lighthearted. And I want to talk about the jester because that is out of all of the archetypes, that's one of the ones that I feel like doesn't get as much shine. But the jester brand personality is really dope. It's really dope. And I think that it's one of my favorite ones that I am not. So we're going to talk about the jester tomorrow. So come on in, have a seat, have some fun. My hope is that tomorrow will really be um like more lighthearted and it'll just be a fun time, like a legitimately fun time. So that's my idea behind doing the jester tomorrow. Yeah, maybe something with some cards on it. Uh, I don't think I have anything with cards. I don't think I have anything with cards because what I'm trying to do is like not give myself a project. I'm trying to think of like the playful stuff that I have already. Um, man, I had to sleep on it. I had to sleep on it. But I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna find something fun. That's gonna trip me up. I don't want y'all to just sit here staring at me, making faces, trying to think about it. So I'll spare y'all and do that offline. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out with me on a Saturday. I was really expecting it to just be me talking to myself. So I'm glad that it wasn't. And I'll see y'all tomorrow to talk about the Jester. Okay. Good night.